Hello, my name's Chris Fidel. Today we're continuing our conversation on the Caron Builders that developed many different subdivisions here in the village of Addison.
Addison, like you mentioned, Chris, was in a building boom. It had been a pretty much of an agricultural community, and the farms had been sold off to developers. A lot of people were thinking about moving out of the city and out to the suburbs, and so I guess the Caron company took advantage of that and built more than just the Westwood subdivision. They developed at least 9 of these subdivisions in the Addison area.
Really?
Yes. And they started, I think, on the east end of town, east of Addison Road and west of Villa Avenue, kind of north of North Avenue. And there was a development there called Surreybrook. And I'm not sure of the year of that development, but I believe it was prior to 1960. And then also Eastwood was another subdivision in that area.
And after Westwood, what were some of the subdivisions they built in Addison?
After Westwood, there was Kings Point West, and Farmwood subdivision, Foxdale, Friars Cove. I believe there were at least 9 subdivisions that were developed by the Caron company. So a lot of Addison homes were built by this particular development company.
And it's very interesting to notice that each subdivision built by the Caron group have their own distinct characteristics.
That's true. We were talking earlier about the Kings Point subdivision, which is an area east of Route 53, kind of in a little bit north of Army Trail Road. And you had mentioned how the names of the streets were kind of regal type names.
To go along with the name of the subdivision,
right.
Sure.
And some of those were, you had mentioned, I think, Monarch and Regal, Lancers. Anyway, names
Sure.
kind of connected
Now,
with
back with
that.
street names in the Westwood subdivision, I know some of them were named after certain people.
Yes. Right. Actually, Westwood was developed around the same time as the Good Samaritan United Methodist Church, and that is the church on the north side of Army Trail Road, just west of the Westwood subdivision. So that church and the subdivision were being developed right around the same time, and so they decided to name some of the streets of the Westwood subdivision kind of related to the church, in that Charles Wesley was the founder of the Methodist religion, and so they therefore came up with Wesley Drive. And then there was the Chicago Methodist bishop. He had the last name of Berchers, and that is another street in that Westwood subdivision. And then finally, the first pastor of Good Samaritan Church, his name was Fred Morris, and so there's a street named Morris in the Westwood subdivision.
Very
too.
interesting.
You know, we often talk about the advantages of living in Addison, and even back in 1960, they were talking about the location and
Sure.
how it was 5 miles from the Tri-State Tollway, 4 miles to the Milwaukee Railroad, 3 miles to the Northwestern Railroad, and 18 miles to the Chicago Loop. So location is a good feature. Well, we are open almost every Saturday all year long, from 10 until 2. And then during the summer months, we have some additional hours on Wednesday afternoons from 1 until 3. And then also on Thursday evenings, we are open from 6 to 8. So yes, we have lots of information. If you live in Westwood or one of the Caron developments and you want to learn more about your home or the subdivision, if you can tell us something about a Caron development, we'd be happy to have that additional
Absolutely.
information.